Hi all, this is Nina.
And Dietrich.
Could you please let us know if you can hear us well? Type something. Okay, great. Then we're starting our webinar. So for those who don't know us, I am a holistic wellness coach. I started my education in Russia. I went through medical school there and was a physician. And after immigrating to United States, I worked in a sleep center for many years. And 10 years ago, I shifted my career to holistic health coaching. I got my certificate from Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and last 5 years I'm involved in intensive training on functional medicine, and I enjoy seeing wonderful results from my clients who drop their medications and improve their health condition by implementing good food, and shifting their lifestyle. And now, Dietrich, can you please tell us about what you're doing?
Well, I kind of work with the same methods of trying to help people improve their lifestyle by comprehensive lifestyle changes. And, you know, I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 plus years, and I know a lot about training and stuff like that because I had an issue in my youth about heart disease or something like that. It was a heart murmur, and that what got me into actually doing more health related things for my clients. So that's why I am in the industry.
So you are very, very weird and strange fitness instructor. You don't have treadmill in your fitness studio. Why you're so weird?
Well, you know, I don't have a treadmill because I don't believe that treadmill is as good as people claim it is. We don't have a treadmill. We have, basically, I say move your mass. Now, you can put that any way you want to put it, but I say move your mass. And that is probably the most efficient way to burn calories and also stay healthy.
I guess it's the most natural way.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
People didn't have treadmills 100 years ago. Somehow they were much healthier.
And they were much healthier. That's right.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's dive into the most common myth about weight loss. I guess now that's the right time to share this information because everybody is trying to burn calories by intense physical tiring activities, and at the same time trying to go on low calorie diet and starve themselves.
No fat, low calorie, no carb, high protein, you name
it. And guess what? It's probably the same thing which these people tried a year ago.
Absolutely, right.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and it never will work. The key that I always tell most of my clients, you know, is first things first is try to clean up, you know, the way you eat. That is the biggest portion. I mean, what I do is a very small percentage, opposed to when they spend time with themselves, which is mostly at home or wherever and out, stuff like that. Eating is 85% of whatever you want, either more energy or better health or less weight. However that boils down for you, the best thing to do is talk about, and what you do, Nina, is talk about nutrition, how that affects the body in all those aspects.
And let's make it simple. The truth is your body is not a dumb bucket. It's very smart. It has its wisdom. And if for whatever reason it tries to keep this weight instead of burning it, it has a reason for it. And if you exercise too much and eat too little, If you were your body, what would you do? You would try to save.
You try to save yourself from all this craziness.
And here is the question, what comes from what? Most people believe that if they lose weight, they will get more energy, they will get less pains and aches, they will sleep better, and all the problems will get better. And I've noticed that very often that's what physician tells them. You lose weight and everything will get better. But the truth is it works the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And if your body keeps this weight, it keeps this weight for some reason to stay in balance.
Right.
And once you get to the root cause of this condition, once you make a peace with your body and try to understand why it's keeping this weight and address the issue, then somehow this extra weight will go away. And I'm sure that's what you see in your practice.
Yeah, it's the funny thing we were talking about before is that, back to the whole treadmill thing. I mean, people lose weight or get healthier in my studio, and we don't have not a treadmill. So miraculously, somehow they still getting better health without the treadmill. And that's, as far as losing weight, stuff like that, losing weight is maybe part of it. But I think the main thing is to do all those things, feel better, get more energy. It comes down to your approach to nutrition.
Exactly. And that's what I see in my practice, because usually people who come to me, they have a list of health conditions, but they complain about weight loss. And I say, hold on to this weight. Let's take care of your inflammation. Let's take care of your headaches. Let's take care of your digestion. And when we will start taking care of other things, somehow, oh my God, I'm losing weight. I didn't even try. And that's what I see all the time in my practice. And we come to the same concept that your body tries to keep the balance somehow.
Right. So with training, it's almost the same thing too. So the body has a tendency to want to stand upright, and so it's trying to balance stuff out. So then you get aches and pains from basically bad posture, but the whole thing, it comes down to balance. So the body's always trying to correct itself, just like, for gaining weight because you're not eating the right things, your body's trying to correct itself. It's not punishing you, it's basically trying to correct itself. And that is the correction for whatever's going on with your body.
Exactly. So let's dive into details and start with the most common, I would say, cause of stubborn weight. Now, this picture, I'm sure, looks very familiar to many people.
Habits. Those habits, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
America starts the day with the coffee and muffin.
And then crash and burn.
And then crash. And then everybody goes for another coffee and muffin. And then it's lunchtime. So what's the connection with the weight? Let me explain it a little bit more biochemically, I would say. So what happened when you get this muffin with coffee? Your blood sugar level spikes up very fast. And by the way, if you think that if you're eating whole grain bagel, it makes it better, not really.
Not really.
Not really. Modern wheat causes very high sugar spikes. So your pancreas comes to rescue. Your body always comes to rescue and releases large amount of insulin, which is a hormone responsible for utilizing sugar. And this insulin tries to help this glucose to get inside the cells and keep circulating in your blood. So at 10 a.m., your blood sugar gets really, really low.
Right.
You run into hypoglycemic state, and that's when you crave something sweet. Now, and somehow you find yourself with the cookie in your mouth and you feel very bad about yourself because you think you have very you don't have enough willpower, which is not true.
Right. So when it comes to this, some of the symptoms from low blood sugar, like shakiness or cold sweats and things like that.
Shakiness, hard to concentrate, and the most common is like you crave sugar all the time.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Because almost like I guess the response to like someone who's being like on cocaine or drugs, something like that.
Kind of sugar
yeah,
is a drug.
Right. It's a drug, right? So you get the high, and the next thing you plummet. So you tend to want to try to get back to where you were to feel whatever you were feeling. Then that energy surge, and you just repeat that bad cycle over and over again.
Exactly. So what's the connection with the weight loss? I'm sure our listeners are like, so you're talking about this insulin and sugar craving. Where's the connection with the weight? Connection is very simple. Insulin is fat promoting hormone, because the only way for your body to deal with extra sugar is to convert it into fat.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, and it works the same way with overtraining too. When you overtrain, your body starts releasing these different hormones that promote you to actually, not to lose weight because you're overstressed. Weight training sometimes can be a stress as well.
Okay, I guess we're diving into the next most common cause of the extra weight. So this is the picture I want you to keep in mind. Pretty much real food is the food which is not going to give you sugar spikes. That's, I call it grandma diet.
Grandma diet. I love it. Love it. Absolutely. Whatever grandma used to make, that's what you eat on God's green earth.
Yeah, food which is made out of real ingredient is not going to give you high sugar spikes. Very simple. And most processed food, even if they called thins,
right, wheat thins,
power
bars, right,
will give you sugar spikes.
Yeah, the most common diet or most common eating foods are in the morning are donuts. I find, especially in the health industry of all things. Like my wife, she works at the hospital, and she said the first thing they have is coffee and donuts in the morning,
which causes sugar spike and sugar roller coaster.
Great
and
breakfast.
Extra insulin.
Right.
And extra weight.
Yes.
Tired. Let's shift. How about shifting to omelet with greens and vegetables?
There's a quick fix. Yeah, that's a nice, easy fix. It's easy. It has all the components, has fat, protein, and low glycemic carbs.
And satisfying.
Yes.
And keeps you energetic and satisfied till lunchtime.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing too. Talking about, as far as snacking, which most of us are kind of snack foods anyway, and thinking about more about just eating like meals.
Exactly. So let's shift to another. I would say, in my practice, it's the most common cause of extra weight is stress.
Stress is a biggie.
So if you think about this issue from the large perspective, as we mentioned, your body is not a dumb bucket, and it keeps connected with the environment. And when you're under stress, your body understands stress as a cold and famine. Because 2 million years ago, that was the only two reasons for stress, cold and famine.
Yep, fight or flight.
And fight or flight equals cold and famine.
Right. That's right.
So if you are your body, what do you do during cold and famine?
Start putting on some weight.
Yeah.
That's right.
You better have some savings. It's your safety net.
Yes.
Right? So let's see how it works. Your brain gives the signal to your adrenal gland. When you're under stress, your brain signaling to your adrenal glands. Its situation is very unstable. Your environment is not safe, and adrenals go, got your brain. We're releasing cortisol. And adrenals send signal to thyroid gland. And thyroid gland responses, okay, too much cortisol. That means it's time to slow down metabolism, to have some savings for unpredictable future.
Right. Reserve.
And human body is very well made for handling the stress. The problem is it can handle a lot of stress once in a while.
Right.
But it cannot handle stress on a regular basis. We're designed to live in fight and flight maybe once a week for a couple hours.
Right. So that goes back to the overtraining method. So when I see people, like especially during this time of the year, everyone goes to the gym and they go all out 5-6 days a week. And that is constant stress, especially when you're pushing yourself as much as most of these people are. That's why, it's very hard for them to lose weight. And then they, they're at the wit's end by the end of February and they just give up. And they start again next year.
I'm glad you mentioned this situation. I just recently had a client who was, she was exercising exactly like that. And she has very extreme adrenal fatigue as the result.
Mm-hmm.
Her adrenals are completely shut down and it's extremely difficult for her to lose weight.
Absolutely so.
Because her body is totally convinced that it will never get better.
Never get better. Yes, I had a similar situation with one of my friends. His wife was that way. She was I would call a constant dieter. And she dieted so much that even though she was on a pretty clean regimen after a while, her body was totally convinced that this was this state. It was like a trick. You're trying to trick me again, and she could not lose weight.
I see. Well, so what do you think is the solution for a situation like that?
Modification, modification, small changes, a little bit at a time. Don't overdo it. Enjoy yourself. Have fun while you're doing it. I go on a list of things.
Stress relief.
Yeah, stress relief. Absolutely so.
You just have to convince your brain that life is good.
Right.
So that the brain would convince your body that life is good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say, I tell my clients, if that's the story you keep telling yourself, maybe you should divorce that story and marry yourself a new one.
Now, let me emphasize the major source of stress. It's a scale.
I can see how that could be, that
like
dreaded scale.
Every morning you go on scale and it shows you the number which you don't want to see, and you start your day with fight and flight.
You started under that kind of stress that, I failed, or it's nothing's happening, and that becomes your story.
Exactly.
That becomes your story.
So let me mention a couple things. First of all, weight, it's not what matters. That's size and shape what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start improving, your body converts fat into muscles.
Right.
So you start losing inches.
Uh-huh.
But you may not lose pounds at all.
That's right. Absolutely not. Absolutely. The scale is almost like every little gadget out there when you get right down to it. It has almost like a false positive. You know what I mean? Like, you look at the scale, you think, okay, now you're not really, most people consider that when you get on a scale, you're weighing bones, you're weighing organs, you're weighing water weight, you're weighing a lot of different things. And you don't know which one that scale is going to show you.
I have an idea here.
Yes.
Like there are two things which you can do with your scale. The simple thing is simply to put it in the garage, in the very far corner of your garage,
okay,
so that you wouldn't see it at all.
Right.
And just see how your clothes fits you.
Right.
And another thing, if you really are attached to your scale, you can paint it over.
Right.
And write the number you want to see on it.
Well, that's a brilliant idea. I like that idea.
You go on this scale every morning, you see the number,
just happy as you can be.
And you are happy. Inhale love, exhale gratitude. Take a couple breaths, inhaling love, exhaling gratitude.
It's a good way to start.
That's the way to start your day. Get some positive emotions and convince your body that life is good. Another things which you want to do for stress relief. First of all, look at the bright side of things. Look at Dietrich's smile. You can keep your slides like to see Dietrich smile all the time. I guess that's how your clients lose weight.
Probably so. Let's hope that's it.
Looking at your smile and smiling back to you. Because when you smile, you convince your body that life is good.
Yes. Yeah. And, I think a lot of people do come, because usually I try to make an environment where, even though we're working out and some things get a little bit, like heart pumping, something like that, but I always try to make it fun. I think fitness should be fun. That's why I don't think you should get on a treadmill. I think maybe you should take a hike, play a sport you enjoy for a short period of time. Just do something you enjoy. I mean, that's why I think most people come to the gym, because our gym is that way, that we have a lot of fun. While we're exercising, we keep it interesting, so your brain doesn't get stuck in that kind of pattern of just doing the same things over and over. And I think that's why it's been as successful as it has been.
It sounds like playing with your 4-year-old.
Yeah,
could be the best exercise.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And there's something too. I mean, you could play with your kids, something like that. When I had kids, I would actually put them on my back and I'd do my push-ups, or I walk around the block with them, something like that. And had the best time. It felt great.
That's great. Sometimes I recommend my clients to think about what they really enjoyed when they were little.
And do that.
Do what you enjoyed when you were little,
Kickball.
Because it brings you back into
Right.
that time when you were 5-year-old.
Yep, we had no worries.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's the best way to get into positive mode. And when you're in positive mode, your hormones get into the right balance. And that's how you start shifting your body from saving to burning.
Right. Yep.
To making energy.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And let's shift to another most common reason of stubborn weight. This is epidemic hypothyroidism. On the right side of screen, you see most common symptoms of low thyroid. And the reason for that is, believe it or not, malnourishment.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Malnourishment, because thyroid gland needs a lot of nutrients,
right,
to make good amount of thyroid hormone.
Yeah, so if you're not eating the proper foods that are, like in a package, you're not getting the right nutrients. You're almost malnutrition.
Yeah, you need many different minerals, and you need good amount of amino acids. And not only you have to consume food which has a lot of nutrition, you have to digest it well.
Right, exactly.
So when you're eating on run and go at your desk, looking at screen, going through your email, you're not releasing digestive juices.
Okay. I may be guilty of that a little bit.
There is always room for improvement. If you're not releasing digestive juices, you're not absorbing your minerals, and you're not breaking down your proteins. So even if you're on a very high protein diet, and you're eating your high protein diet in front of the screen,
right.
It's not helping you.
Right, but
you may end up protein deficient.
But now, it's safe to say that it won't happen immediately, but over time, like everything,
over time, exactly.
Yeah, consistently doing that, right?
If you're consistently not chewing well, not enjoying your food, then you may end up malnourished.
Right.
And another reason for hypothyroidism is the one which we talked about earlier: high stress.
Yes. That's a huge one right there, high stress.
And when we have these two combined, we run into all the symptoms of low thyroid. And it doesn't always tested and approached properly, because the only test you get on your physical exam is TSH, and TSH is not a real thyroid hormone. It's thyroid stimulating hormone released by pituitary gland.
Is there a certain kind of form or something like that that one can find that to take that particular test?
Oh, thank you. That's the next slide.
All right. Great.
I'm gonna send the slides of this presentation to all the participants so that they could print out this slide and request their physician to run all complete thyroid panel if they feel that they have all the symptoms. Mm-hmm. And you can exercise as much as you want to. If your thyroid is running low, you will still have this stubborn weight around your belly.
So just real briefly, I guess, when it comes to hypo and hyperthyroid, one definitely will make you maintain like heavier weight because of whatever reason it's not working well. But hypothyroid, how's that better or worse?
First of all, hypothyroid is much, much, much more common.
Right. Okay.
Much more common. It's almost epidemic. Hyperthyroid is usually autoimmune condition.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
It's not as common. It is harder to reverse, but still possible.
Okay.
And there are different symptoms. So
I gotcha. Right.
I don't want to go into it, but I'm planning to have a separate webinar on thyroid health.
Awesome.
Now let's talk about another very common cause of stubborn weight: chronic inflammation.
Okay.
And that's what I'm sure you see it all the time. People with arthritis, joint pain.
Yep, inflammation for sure.
Foggy brain.
Yep, inflammation. All those things are usually most diseases have the same common thing, which I find is inflammation. From AIDS to arthritis, the common thing that they find is that is repetitive in all those things is inflammation.
And what happens with your body is you release inflammatory chemicals, which are toxic.
Right.
And your body tries to build more fat tissue to absorb these chemicals and to keep toxic chemicals outside of your organs. So again, as you see, your body is trying to save you.
Save you, right. Mm-hmm.
From toxicity. And somehow people believe that, they have arthritis because they have extra weight.
Right.
The other way around.
Other way around, right. Mm-hmm.
And I find that very, very common cause of chronic inflammation is pro-inflammatory foods.
Okay.
And we're back to the same thing. We're back to processed foods.
Right.
And here the next slide is most common food sensitivities. Very often people are sensitive to specific foods. And we think about allergy as of like rash or immediate relief. But very often we have delayed allergies on foods. Mm-hmm. And they come out mostly like symptoms not from GI tract.
Right.
It's arthritis, nasal congestion, muscle pain, heart racing, shortness of breath, acid reflux, headaches. People don't link the symptoms with foods. But when they run the test and find out which foods giving them issues and eliminate these foods, first of all, the symptoms will go away. Mm-hmm. And then the weight somehow goes away.
Yeah, I had one of my clients who basically, she would run a lot. She would eat less, but then her choices for food wasn't the best either. And just by, advising her to kind of, do less and focus on better eating habits, I think she dropped probably a good 10 to 15 pounds within 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow. That's amazing.
by doing less.
Probably should drop bread and dairy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that was just amazing. I think she was kind of amazed too. I mean, I've been telling her for like months, and how much she just said she had to stop because she had some injuries, which is due to inflammation, stuff like that. But as soon as she dropped that, doing so much exercise that way, then the weight just kind of just fell off.
That's amazing.
I know those people are probably shocked, that I can do. I think the issue becomes the fixes are so simple, but I think most people want to be complicated because they think it should be complicated. Kind of feeds into the whole stress thing, right? If it's too easy, it can't work. It can't. It's no way possible it can work. So let's make some stress here, and make it hard for us to do it, and then maybe we'll get the outcome we want.
I see it all the time too, and statistically, most common food sensitivities are gluten and dairy foods.
Yes, dairy. I know a lot about dairy. Dairy is definitely one of the things that creates this kind of mucus in your body. Your body again will try to get rid of it by either out of your tear ducts, out of your eyes, out of your nose. It'll start to try to, and you pay attention to it, you'll notice that it will try to get rid of that mucus.
And the miracle happens if somebody with chronic nasal congestion drops dairy foods. Right. There is no congestion.
There's no congestion.
And somehow this extra weight goes away.
Right. Absolutely.
And there is no joint pains.
Just like that. Overnight.
Not overnight, but I would say over a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. It takes about to adjust to all these things. Because it has to be sure that you're going to do the right thing.
Yeah. So now let's wrap it up. Keys for success.
Baby steps.
We gave our attendees a lot of information, and it may feel a little bit overwhelming.
Yep.
So how do we approach it?
Well, from my perspective and my field of work, my thing is that there should be a progression to everything. You shouldn't start off, by going all out, doing anything. I think it should be a progression. So you just basically do a little bit more, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, based on the person's body. Because not everyone's the same. So therefore, one person can maybe handle a certain amount of training, 2 or 3 times a week. Some people just can handle maybe one, based on whatever else they got going on in their daily life. So it's all personalized that way.
Exactly, and I would say it's very important to celebrate every little progress instead of thinking about, oh, I'm not perfect.
Right. Yes. Perfect.
Do a little step. Celebrate every little progress, and when you do slips, instead of beating yourself, take it as a learning experience.
Right.
Pay attention how your body responded to this slip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
instead of trying to track
my knee started hurting. I guess it's not good for me. Take it as a learning experience and appreciate your body wisdom. Say, thank you, body, for letting me know that this thing is not good for me.
Right. Absolutely.
So, Dietrich, what would you recommend as a first baby step in terms of physical activity?
I would say, take a walk. And as far as physical activity, you can really use anything for physical activity. You can pick your kids up, put them down, sit down with them, stand up with them. Something really basic like that would be a good start. And you're talking about just really structured exercise. You can just basically do a sit down and stand up in your chair. That's considered as a squat. Something basic like that will get you going. I mean, do 10, 15 of those, or something like that, and then maybe drop down and do a few push-ups. That alone, building that kind of program as a every other day thing would be enough for starting.
So you can do it at work as well.
You can do it at work. You can do it at home. You can do it anywhere you like.
Get up, sit down. Get up, sit down.
Yeah, get up, sit down. Yeah, and just do that. I mean, it's a really basic start for anyone.
That sounds good. And what I would recommend everybody as a first step for improving eating habits, shift from snacking to eating.
Right.
Instead of trying to exercise your willpower and not eating this chips and cookies and sugary snacks, if you make sure to have a good meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, grandma's meal.
Grandma's meal. I'm all for
good
grandma's
salad, meal. Good like colorful plates of vegetables with some like piece of fish or chicken, or if you're vegetarian, some good homemade beans with good amount of oil. It's very important to have sufficient amount of fat in your meal. Right. It regulates your feeling of satiety. And eat this lunch and breakfast, eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner slowly, chew well, enjoy your food, enjoy the smell, enjoy the flavor, eat mindfully, then you're going to be satisfied, and then you won't reach for this sugary, harmful snacks.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
And just eat the best to your knowledge, make the best for you.
Well said.
I think with that we can finish. And on the last slide, and I will send you the slides of our webinar, there's a way to reach us. And please stay tuned. We're going to be coming up with more webinars, and both me and Dietrich have newsletters. So please stay tuned, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.